We're here. We're so fuzzy. How come we're so fuzzy? I think we're here. We're live. We're fuzzy, but we're live. I think the internet's actually feeling how I'm feeling, so that's perfect. Welcome to day one of Unleashing Your Story. I am Sierra Melker. I trust folks will be tuning in as they can. I'm just going to dive in because I'm here, and if you're watching this, you're here. So, just to give you a little context, welcome, first of all. Anytime that you are saying, hey, something's interesting to me, and then you're showing up for that thing, you are putting yourself in alignment with the things that you desire. And your time is the most valuable investment you can ever make. So if you are here now or watching the replay, really, really just recognize that this is super important. If you're here, drop a note in the comments. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I know that this is not a fundamental aspect of who you are, but I do find it really interesting to see where folks are tuning in from. It's going to be another minute or two, I think, before people are jumping on, but oh, I need a tea today. Do you need tea today? Oh my gosh. So this is day one. There's going to be 5 days every single night this week at exactly the same time. We are tuning in. We are going to really be focusing on, like the title suggests, unleashing your story, which is going to have a lot to do with actually the untangling and the clearing of the path. As I say that, I need to breathe because there's a lot that can get in the way of the story and finding the voice. So that's what we're about. My name is Sierra Melker. I am the founder of Integral Women and Red Thread Publishing. Red Thread Publishing is our newest expression of how we support women through their own personal development, their professional development, and I help women find their voices, share their stories so that they can accelerate their personal and professional growth, change the world, and really have a larger impact. And I do that, we do that, Red Thread now is a team of 6 women around the world. We do that by supporting every aspect of the creative process, both like from the writing, the publishing, the promoting, but also the emotional part of the writing process because it's a process. And there's a lot of emotion around it. So we're going to just dive in. If you have your workbook handy, you will be needing it. I'll be referring to it on the regular. We're going to be quick and dirty, as all of my trainings are. We just really dive in, we get to the point, and then we get out because there's a lot can happen in a short amount of time. I don't need to take an hour of your time to make the points that I need to make. I'd rather speak, share, connect, and then give you the rest of the evening to digest and process. So if you're joining us, if you're tuning in, say hi in the comments, tell us where you're coming from, where you are in this moment, and we'll go from there. Every night, 30 minutes, there'll be a next step with every one of these trainings. Hey, Elizabeth, you're here. I'm so glad you're here. With every one of the trainings, there'll be a next step, a little nudge, a way to take the practice a little bit deeper and a little bit further. And this is our opportunity to connect with ourselves, with one another. Every time I sit down with the team of Red Thread Publishing, we take a deep breath and we really connect with the practice, the purpose of what we're doing. And so I want you to do that too. You're showing up here for yourself for a reason. So take that deep breath. What's your reason for being here? Okay. Elizabeth's in SoCal. Fabulous. Elizabeth, what's your reason for being here right now? There's the reason that pops up in maybe the top of your head, but I want you to bring it into your body too. And what is your deep and burning why? What got you to show up for yourself in this training? What sparked your attention when you're like, ooh, unleash my story. There's something in there that I need, okay? I'm not just asking to fill time. I'm asking because that is the focus of this whole first part of the training. When you know why you want to tell this story, when you know why you can't not write this story, that clarity and that groundedness is really going to help you when things get tricky, when things get overwhelming, when things are hard and emotionally because the writing and the sharing, the finding of your voice and putting it out there for the world to see comes with a lot of obstacles. When you know your why, and you are clear and it's resonating in your bones and reverberating, when you know your why, you are increasing your likelihood of staying on the path. Okay, this is not a straight line. If you've ever heard me speak about anything or come to any of my previous trainings, you know I don't believe in straight lines. There is no progress like this. There's progress like this. But when you know your why and when you are clear and you are grounded in why you have something to say, why this thing in particular is important for you to say, then you'll stay on this winding path. You'll stay connected to the journey instead of letting any one of the obstacles stop you cold. Okay. So Elizabeth's here to reinvigorate her writing voice, exclamation point, find the inspiration to write the story I've always wanted to tell. Beautiful. I love it. If you're tuning in, tell us where you're from. Just say hi in the comments. There are more and more women joining this training every day, which is exciting. A number of people have responded to the poll that's in the group. And so a lot of the reasons people are here, number one, they say, I find writing healing. Okay, this process of writing we do for ourselves. At the beginning, it's for us. And this is what I mean when I'm supporting the whole writing process, the whole creative process, because to tell a story is a journey. Okay, if we have an experience, we need to digest that experience, understand that experience, and nobody actually wants the experience dictated. We're all living experiences. We don't want to hear the mundane, the million things. But as readers, as other souls, we're looking for the gems of the journey. We're looking for a map that can show us how to get from where we are to where we want to be. We're looking for permission to not have it figured out. And when we can hear that from someone else, we're like, oh. And our job as writers is to take our own experience and create something that's not just our experience, but really digest it and shape it so that we can hand it to someone else and have it serve them. So healing, writing is healing for you, and that is absolutely a great reason to be here. That you don't have to have publishing aspirations. You don't have to want to write a book. If writing is healing for you, girl, that's enough. You know that the work that I've done for years with Integral Women is genuinely about a woman with herself. And so if writing is your thing, go for it. I love it. That is absolutely the greatest place to start. Other women voted on, I have something I want to write to teach and support others, which goes back to what I was sharing earlier. Another option that got polled really high is, I have a story I must tell. And I see that in Elizabeth's comment. There's something I've always wanted to write. If you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Drop a comment, tell us where you are, why you're here, and just say hi, because I want to know who you are. I just see these numbers, but I don't know who you are, and I want to talk to you. Deepen the writing practice, or I've always just said that I was going to do this, always wanted to do this. And quite honestly, a lot of the women I speak to are like, I have no idea how to start. I have no idea where to start a writing journey. Okay. First of all, if your writing journey has a very explicit destination at the end, and that is to like write and publish a book, that can be super overwhelming. And we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But let's today just focus on why you're here, what you hope to accomplish this week, what do you hope to gain out of this training. So like Friday night at 7:30 in the evening, where do you want to be with yourself? What do you want to have learned? What do you want to have understood? What do you want to have shifted? Because you've probably heard this before. What got you here won't get you where you're going. And whatever worked in the past is going to need to shift if you want the future to be different. So we're going to be doing some shifting. What do you expect and want to be shifting this week? Drop it in the comments so I can know, and that so you can know, and the other women in the community can also know. So there's going to be a couple of tasks. If you have the workbook, you've already read the question like, why are you here? What's your burning why? And I want you to have it in your head. But as always, I really want you to breathe that motivation into your body. Where do you feel this fire in your body? Where is this motivation residing inside your body? And get to know this motivation really, really well, because that motivation is quite literally going to be the fuel. I guess it's not literally, it's metaphorically. It's quite metaphorically the fuel you're going to need to get you through the obstacles. And there are plenty of them. But as you know, because you've heard me speak before, I like obstacles. Obstacles are our friends. They are the things that are going to challenge us, that are going to force us to grow, and they are the things that are going to be the difference between who we have been and who we want to be. We need all those obstacles. We need to face those obstacles and overcome those obstacles, and we're going to play with obstacles tomorrow. So why are you here? Really, really feel it in your body, okay? It's one thing to have a thought. Those are very helpful. We like thoughts. But tonight, if you do nothing else, I want you to locate within your body, where does your motivation reside? Okay. Elizabeth's musical. So maybe like, what's the frequency? Or physically in your body, what color is it? What temperature is it? What sound does it make? What's the motivation driving you to show up tonight? Because I know a year of quarantine, we are sick of trainings, we are sick of lives, we are sick of like virtual connections, but you're here. You're here because there's something that's driving you, and it has to be explicitly, fiercely clear to you, okay? I want to shift my anxiety, the feeling of not having the energy to follow through with the theme and the idea to fruition. My time is limited and I want success. Okay. I love it. Thank you for sharing that, because this is so common. We're gonna spend more time on the obstacles tomorrow, like I said, but there's obstacles, there's logistic obstacles, and there are perceived obstacles. And one is not the same as the other. So tomorrow, when we get to obstacles, I'm going to make a note. There's the like real, I don't want to call them unreal, but and perceived obstacles. We have to address both of them, but we address them differently. Doriana's here from Italy. Hi, my love, staying up late. Yes, I'm glad you're here. Okay. Love Sierra's trainings. Thank you. Yes. Okay, cool. So the exercise, the only exercise for tonight really, is to take your why. You have it in your head, so you can put it into a sentence. You found it in your body. Is it mine? It's like a fire in my solar plexus. It's not a fire that hurts me. It is just this like glowing ember of flickering, and it's right here in my solar plexus. And so I've found the motivation inside my body. I know what it looks like. I know its temperature. I know its frequency and vibration. Know your burning why. And here's the actual exercise. And it's going to be the next step. And I want people to be sharing this in the comments after the training. So there's a practice that I learned. For any motivation, for any why, if you leave it just on the surface level, or like, I want to make money because, like, I just want to make money. All right, we're fine. Great. You want to make money. Why do you want to make money? You've got to take the why, take the actual motivation and peel it back. So why? So Elizabeth, for example, you have a story you want to tell. You've always had a story you wanted to tell. I want to know why. Okay. And then when you have the answer to that, peel back another layer. Go deeper. Why do you want that? Peel back another layer. Why do you want that? Okay. So I'm going to use the example of money. Want to earn money. Great. Fine. Why? Because I want to buy a house. Okay. Why do you want to buy a house? I want a house because a house means safety, a house means family, a house means, well, I don't know, tax write-offs, whatever. Well, why do you want those things? Well, because growing up, I didn't have a sense of place and I moved around a lot and I want something else for my daughter. Okay, great. We've gone 4 layers deep. Why do you want a sense of place and something for your daughter? Because I want da da da. You see what I'm going at? Like, for whatever your writing motivation is, take it. It's called the 6 whys deep. Okay. So for each why, I need to then look at the nugget that you found and be like, well, why do I want that? And why do I want that? And why do I want that? Okay. You are going to take this all the way as deep down as you can. So we've found our why in our head. We found our why in our body. I challenge you to get even more intimate with your why in the next 24 hours before you show up for this next training. I really want you to be chewing on, why do you want to write? Okay. Why? And my very first question before most folks tuned in is, what do you expect to get out of this training? What do you hope to gain? It's about writing. But you know what? We're going to spend 90 or more % of our training not actually writing, because unleashing your story is there. It is so ready. Okay. The thing is, there is all this stuff tangled up that is quite literally leashing, tethering your story and not letting it flow. My goal for you by the end of the week is that we can sort through, untangle, and clear a path so that you have both logistics as well as energetics and clarity amongst yourselves and yourself to really say, like, okay, this is why I want to write. This is sort of what I want to write. And here's how I'm going to do it, so that you've cleared away the obstacles that up until now have been insurmountable. And I call them insurmountable because if you haven't done the thing that you've always wanted to do, then there's been a reason you haven't done it. Okay? Doesn't mean if it was insurmountable in the past that it's still insurmountable. And I've left threads already. We want to be different. We want to have done the thing. We want to have written the story, shared the story, done the healing journey ourselves, and have something to share and a way to support other people. In order to get from where we are to where we want to go, we need to change the story. And with my coaching clients, there are 3 words that invariably, energetically, psychologically will change your story. And if you have the workbook, it's the 2nd page of day 1. It's up until now. If you're with me, I want you to write these 3 words down. Up until now. Okay? When we're talking about who we are and what our experience is and what we're capable of and who we can have been and yada, 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 we all actually quite often throughout a day, we are reinforcing our identity in our thoughts in our head, but as we speak to other people, who am I? What am I doing? Yada, yada. And we tell people and we tell ourselves who we are. But to become someone else and to have done something that you've never done before, I have a puppy who's in my way. We need to be different than we have in the past. We need to think differently, act differently, behave differently, believe differently, show up in our own lives differently than we have in the past. And if it's, I don't have time to write my story, it's, I didn't have time to write my story up until now. We don't have to change anything else yet, except the up until now, okay? So I want you to be sprinkling these 3 words all over the place for the next week, because these 3 words allow for you to acknowledge how things have been in the past. We don't have to change the past. We don't have to deny any other way that we've ever been. That's one of the things that I notice in other personal development programs. They're like, well, just say it isn't so. But it was so. And let's give it validity and credit, and it served a purpose in the time. So up until now, I thought I could never write a book. My story, my personal Sierra story, I've wanted to and pretended to, and not pretended to, but like sort of putzed around with writing a book since 2006, and something always stopped me. And for a lot of that time, I did not believe that I could actually do it. I grew up dyslexic. Guess what? Still dyslexic. And parts of the story that I grew up with was, I can't do it. And so I had to change that story that I was living. I can't do it. Up until now, I couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, do you see how simple those 3 words are to change a larger story arc for yourself? So you're going to get clear on your why. You're going to take it 6 whys deep, and you're going to look at things that have been true up until now. They are no longer true as soon as you say up until now, because I'm very visual. When I'm speaking, I see things quite visually. So you've been on a road, and this is your life, and this is who you are, and this is how you show up in the world. What happens is every time you say who you are and what you're about and what you believe, that extends that same road out in front of you. So your future is like your past. And I have a puppy who really wants a dog biscuit, so go. I've done these trainings enough that I know I should have a pocket full of dog biscuits. So your future is going to be your past, because you keep saying who you are and what you're about and what you're capable of. And so that's who you are in the future. These 3 words, up until now, create a second road. And you can go down this second road because you've just quite psychologically, I can't say literally, you have made a new path for yourself. So that's the power of those 3 words. I really want you to be leaning into and playing with that. I'm only seeing a few more comments. Let me check. Yeah, want to inspire others, wanted to write an amazing story. Yes. Okay. And thank you, Elizabeth, for being here and having things to share. I love it. I think there's been enough for today. What I'm going to ask everyone who's watching the replay to do is drop your feedback in the comments so we can have a larger discussion. The next step is to share your 6 whys deep. It's like, I want this because, and I want that because, and I want that because. So share your 6 whys deep. And if you're up for it, share a couple of the stories or the beliefs or the identity pillars that are true up until now. Okay? So it's a full moon. You might be feeling the energy. I often will integrate the moon into my coaching practice, the writing process, certainly in the creative process, because we, especially as women, we are fluid and fluxing creatures. The moon is that constant reminder in the sky. Hi. that we are fluid and fluxing creatures. And so the full moon is often a high energy time that can feel really good and really effective and productive for people. It can also feel really overwhelming and frenetic and obnoxious for people. All you need to do is figure out what it means for you. And we're going to start harnessing these different energies as another element of ways to support you to unleash your story. One of the things I was reflecting on this afternoon is really sort of the status quo, the story of how to write, because there's a cultural assumption about how to write. I was a high school teacher for a long time, and I think I perpetuated this story of just like sit down and write every day. And it, Elizabeth says she doesn't have enough time, but if the cultural story says, well, you need an hour and a half every day, and you need to write 1,600 words, and if you do that every day, you'll have a novel of 50,000 words, or a nonfiction book of a da 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 in a certain amount of time. You are not a machine. You're not. You are nothing like a machine. And yet our society teaches us to mechanize. I absolutely disagree. 80% of writing is not writing. And so one of the things I'm going to be sharing here is, what else is it? What else do we need to put in place that's going to support your story to flow out of you quickly, easefully, in a short amount of time, that allows for you to totally change your narrative about what it means to write, what it means to be a writer, how is it to share your work in the world. We're going to be changing all of that stuff. But I think I was actually having a little guilt spiral this afternoon about all the young women that I taught about study skills. I was like, well, if you have a test on this day, and if you study for 30 minutes every day before the test for a whole month, then you'll be ready for the test. And I know myself now. I can't do that. I can study for 3 hours one day and no hours, no minutes another day. And I was telling everyone to be a machine and just show up the same way every day. And the note that I wrote to myself, I was teaching them to fail. I was teaching them to fail by perpetuating a story that we need to be the same way every day to be successful. And if they couldn't do that, well, then they probably failed before they even failed the test, right? They would feel bad because they couldn't have produced in a system in a certain way. So we are going to tear down some of those beliefs if you have any of them. It has been 28 minutes. I want to respect your time. I want to respect my time. I'm going to finish my tea and hang out with my daughter. I'm going to be back here tomorrow evening at the exact same time. I'm going to check the group a couple of times in the next 24 hours. Share your comments, share your questions, share what's coming up when we're talking about your burning why, your 6 whys deep, your up until now stuff. Doriana says these words are so powerful. Up until now. Yes. Great. And we're not machines. And when we learn that we don't have to be, we can actually be incredibly effective. I shared last week that I took a little bit of downtime around my menstrual cycle. I did that because of this week's training and next week's publishing launch. We have a book, our first book is coming out. I knew I had a lot coming, and so I knew I needed to rest so that I can be even more effective and more engaged and more enlivened for the things that I need to do. So that instead of trying to be the same every day and work X number of hours, I'm going to rest like a motherfucker. And then I'm going to be way high up here when I need to in that fluxing cycle. This is actually the writing system that I teach women because it is the opposite of everything, even subconsciously, we've been taught, is just to sit down every day and do it the same way every day. And we ain't doing that. Okay, sending you so much love. Drop your comments, share what's going on. Sending you so much respect for showing up for yourself, showing up for your story, and tomorrow being willing to look those obstacles straight in the eye. Sending you love. Have a great night.